Okay, well, I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you finally. So,
Yeah, you too.
first things first, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Um, my name's Ian. I'm a musician, and I've been doing it for this project maybe 4 years, 5 years, and lots of that time was during COVID. But yeah, I write all my songs and have a really great band. I live in Edmonton, Canada, and most of my bandmates live in Calgary, which is city kind of 3 hours to the south. So I got to kind of go drive to see them, and then yeah, we've put out a couple albums and we tour whenever we can, wherever we can. And it's kind of it. Obviously, I have a day job as well, so there's lots of things, lots of moving pieces. But that's kind of the life of lots of the people you find these days, unless they're Rihanna at the Super Bowl.
Right. How did you decide that you wanted to become a musician and get started in this industry?
Um, High school, really, which was 10 years ago. I ended it, and 12 years ago started it, and it was just kind of something I did with my friends, and then sorry, something I did with my friends, and just wanted to keep doing. So we all went to university. We all kept on moving with our lives, but it just stayed apart. And at times, it's been full time, and I don't really see a future where it will be again. But it's a great thing you can kind of just keep doing forever.
Right. So, have you ever when you were younger, did you ever think of yourself as being a musician? Like, did you ever have that little bit of, oh, one day I'm gonna be a musician when I grow up, or was this like a high school thing? You're just
Yeah,
acting
for
like,
sure. Well, I remember I took piano lessons growing up as a kid, and one day somebody said like, "Hey, you should go, play at events and things like that." And I just thought that was so cool, or the idea that you could go to school for music, which I didn't do, but I just thought those were really cool things. And I was like, really, I can turn my little piano lessons into something I can do as an adult? Like that sounds like so much fun. So it never really seemed real until I found some other people in high school who were like-minded, and we kind of realized, oh, there are places we can go do this. And there's actually a teacher in our high school who knew some people who worked at venues and things like that and helped us get set up with our first one show. And from there, we kind of found our own, and then people were finding us. And then that project ended, and now here I am, just still doing it.
gotcha. So, what was your childhood like growing up? Any anything interesting happen, or was like
Oh,
just a
sorry,
normal
can you
boring?
repeat that one more time?
What was your childhood like growing up?
Uh, Pretty normal, I think.
Okay.
Suburban Canadian city.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I played hockey. I went to piano lessons. I tried guitar for a year and sucked at it, so I dropped out of that.
Yeah.
Um, I was good in school. I always liked school. I'm still in school. It's going to go forever. So,
Right.
yeah.
Do you have are any of your family members, do they have a musical background, or is it just like you and your family?
It's really just me. We all kind of started piano lessons at the same time as a kid, but they didn't stick with it. They didn't like it as much, so
Oh
it's
yeah.
kind of just me. Um, yeah, my brother, fiddles around with things, and he's written little goofy songs. And my dad, who I work for, who's sitting over there, he's always written goofy little songs. But I thought, hey, I can do this for real. I want to try it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you used to play hockey. Is that still are sports an interest of yours or anymore, or is it just
Still watch it. I'm
okay?
pretty busy now, though. I got kind of my full-time ish job here. I got to go tour a couple months of the year. I got to write stuff. I got to do school. So the schedule's pretty full. I do love bowling, though. I do
Okay.
bowl every week.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, bowling's great.
So you say that you write your own songs? Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of. I used to write with other people in my first band, but that sadly ended pretty suddenly. And then then I kind of it was just me. So I was like, okay, I'll write these. And then, now we have a couple albums.
Gotcha. What inspires you to write? Like, is it past experiences, things you've heard about? Like, what gives you that inspiration to write?
I think you can kind of write about anything, but making it make sense is harder. So, you take from all your experiences. Day-to-day life is really good. If you can kind of paint a little scene that people can relate to, that's always really good. But then listening to lots of stuff, it's like, if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a avid reader, and you need to understand how people successfully put these things together. Because if left to my own devices, if I couldn't listen to music, I wouldn't be able to write anything. So I'm listening to stuff all the time, putting it in little writing playlists, trying to dissect what they did, and then put my own ideas into it. By the time you put it through the whole machine, the whole process, it's totally your own thing. So you can start by trying to steal somebody's song, and you're not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. So yeah.
Have you ever been stuck writing a song, and then like if you have, like, is there anything you do to get over that little writer's block?
I'm constantly stuck writing. I'm a
Okay.
very slow writer. And then it'll be, then one day you'll have 1,000 other things to worry about. And you'll go, you know what? I'm going to procrastinate those things, and I'm going to sit down and write. Or you'll just be walking along, driving, or on the subway, whatever, and you go, oh, I have an idea. And you just need to try to get that down. There's no magic bullet. I know lots of people are like career writers, like they can do that. They can just sit down that day and decide to put pen to paper and make it work. I'm always trying to be like that, but it's hard. It's work, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of more opportunistic, kind of try to grab it when it comes, and then once the ball's rolling, once you're like, I'm making an album, I'm making a project, I have all these people kind of investing their time and energy, then you have to get into work mode and try to just pump it out. But it's really hard to get that first spark. What direction am I going in? What is this about? What's this whole project about? Then you gotta just run. So,
Okay. So what would you describe your genre?
that's tough. It's kind of easier for other people to do it for you and not worry about trying to fit it. Because what I know I'm not going to be is a top 40 artist. I know I'm not going to be playing the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to be for whenever this goes out. The Super Bowl was yesterday, so that might be good context. I don't know. I like to think of it as just like indie music, independent music, alternative rock. Maybe it's a little folky. It's kind of whatever you want to listen to. I learn a lot more by listening to people who listen to my stuff and find out what other things they listen to. That tells me a lot more than trying to describe it myself, because I'm just trying to make something that makes sense and that I like.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I don't have a whole picture and I'm just trying to make it work.
Right. So with that, what was your favorite song you've written? Like, do you have like a favorite that you've written, like you're like, oh yeah, this one, I know everything worked well with that, or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And it changes over time, right? Like when you write it, you're always excited about it. Then you hate it, then you take it to the studio, then you love it again, or you hate it again. Then you got to play it live, then you love it again, or you hate it again. But the one that stood for me, and I'm proud of it all the way through, is Loving, kind of the title track on the last album, Love in the Front Lawn. So that one I was really proud of. I got to include little snippets from my real life. I got to have this like really nice chorus. It got built up in the studio the way I like it, and it always hits playing live. So that one I'm always happy with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there a song you've ever like written and released, and it's like, oh man, I wish I would have changed something on this, and like nothing like serious?
Everything.
Oh, really?
All the time. I feel like that's really common though. That's common though for people who make art or release art or whatever, and they kind of go, what could I have changed there? Like a Sweet Song is kind of our big hit, and I'm like, the guitar sounds like a toy, like I sound like a child, like it's kind of tacky, it's kind of corny, and I'm like, if I'd known now or if I'd had that song today, what would I have done differently with it? Like so many things, but mostly just sonic choices.
Right.
Just how does that sound come across? Maybe not so much in the writing of the lyrics, but yeah, sometimes you cringe at your own lyrics too. And you're like, why did I do that? But it's stuck.
Right.
So you gotta just make a new one.
Do you have like any ambitions or goals like with your music career? Like as of right now, if I go to tell you tomorrow, if I say tomorrow you'd like to be doing this, what would you like to be doing with your music career?
You know what's the most rewarding and realistic goal is not like I'm gonna be a millionaire with it. I'm never gonna have to work another job. Is like I think that's unrealistic. It's just
Right.
not how the industry works anymore. People like me can't support themselves doing stuff like that unless I'm 80% bigger than I am. So, I like to travel the world with music. That's really cool. And for it
Right.
to break even, that's a really cool goal of mine. We're getting there, depending on where we go. Like I can tour. I'm in Western Canada and I'm kind of in the middle. Where are you located, by the way? Are you in the States?
No, I'm in Leduc, Alberta.
Oh, you're in Leduc. Okay, I'm in 15 minutes north of you right now.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so we can tour to Vancouver and back, and probably maybe break even and stuff. But I can't go to
Right.
Europe like we like to and make money. I definitely can't go to the States. There's all these visas, and it's a mess. So my short answer to summarize all that is playing live is really fun. I'd like to do that for as long as I want to, and not have to sacrifice everything else in my life to do it.
Right. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. So we were talking about like a little bit of the music industry. Like for people, including myself, who don't know much about the music industry, how does that work?
How's it work? Well, um, it is a pie that keeps getting smaller, and you get a very tiny chunk of. So people don't really buy music like they did, and that's cool. Honestly, I'm way more accessible now. I don't need to be on the radio for people to find me, but what am I going to get paid for what people find me? Very, very little. And
Okay.
then fuck, I don't want to talk. Sorry, I can't swear on here. Excuse me. People, everything's gotten so much more expensive, right? In our lifetimes, like say we're
Yeah.
kind of the same age. Our parents didn't have to pay the kind of prices we do
Yeah.
for touring or whatever, or people would come out to the shows. So you're kind of battling Netflix for people's entertainment, and you're battling people don't want to drive in downtown Edmonton in the winter to come see a show.
Yeah.
So everything's super slim, and it's hard to get attention on your project. But there's a flip side, and it's that you can get your name out there without being attached to a big label. So hey, you found me today. I'm super pumped on that. That makes my day, right?
Yeah.
So it's tougher than ever to make money, but it's easier than ever to find a small audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you did a show?
I think it was October or November. I did a
Okay.
show in downtown Edmonton, but that was we'd done a month in Europe, which was really, really fun, but tough too, right? You're kind of like, how can we get from A to B as cheap and as quick as possible? So it
Right.
gets really tiring, gets really expensive, but it's really fulfilling. But at the end of the day, you got to go, can I do this again right now? So you need to take a break, and sometimes you need to write more. So that's kind of what's going on right now. So I haven't played a show in three months, but we got more coming up.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So when you are performing on stage or venues or whatever, do you have like a process you
Mhm.
do? Like, do you have like a ritual or do you just go with the flow or how's that work for you?
I like to just go with the flow. I think that's what works for me. I think people I know a couple people who have like a big like stage persona and whatever, and they really got to work that up and hype themselves up. And I'm like, no, at the end of the day, I'm trying to sell
Hmm.
myself, and I'm not trying to be an ego about that. It's just like hey, I like to make these songs. If you like to come see these songs, come hang out. It'll be a great time. Everybody will have fun. We'll dance. We'll have a beer. It's great.
Right.
Um, People have told me they feel really, it's a happy environment. People feel safe at the shows. I think that's all great. I just want it to be like a night hanging out with your friends. So
Right.
if I go up there all relaxed, talk to the people like they're my friends, it's easy.
Right. That makes sense. What's it feel
Yeah.
like when you're performing? Like, do you get like an adrenaline rush, or are you used to it by now? You still feel nervous?
It depends on the situation. If you know you're just like actually playing to a room of your friends is probably the most stressful
Okay.
because you know they've seen you a bunch. You
Yeah.
know that they are continuing to support you and you don't want to mess that up. You don't want them
Right.
to go, you don't want to have their like pity support, you know?
Yeah.
But playing to a big crowd is really exciting and you're just like, hey, they didn't know me they didn't know me before. So it's my chance to make an impression. And then, if somebody like some big wigs in the room, um, you're trying to make a splash, but you're kind of on autopilot. Like I'm not thinking about what I'm playing anymore because I know how they go,
Hmm.
and I'm kind of monitoring the energy level in the room. You're trying to just kind of make it go like this gently and keep it always moving up a little bit.
Right.
You see people's eyes turning towards the hockey game on the screen in the back, like that's tough. But
Yeah.
you gotta just perform. You gotta do what you do.
Right. So, have you ever had any fan interact? Have you ever had any fan
Sorry.
interact? Have you ever had any fan interactions that like you were, I don't know, like were either cool or fun or like maybe even a little weird or anything like that, or is it do you have like just a normal fan base?
I've been really lucky. I've had some really cool ones.
Okay.
Some of the ones that really stick out for me are we've gone to Europe a few times now, two, 3 times, and it's crazy to me that we'll show up in Berlin, and some kid will have like taken a train for 2 hours to come out and see my show, and just kind of sit quietly in the back, and I'm like, everybody else is just kind of a bar crowd, and then you're like, who's this like 19-year-old kid came by themselves? They're kind of waiting nervously to talk to you after the show,
Yeah.
and they like have all your merch. And I'm like,
Okay.
I don't even remember sending this to Germany. Or we show up in Munich, another Germany one, and somebody's hand painted the album art on the back of a jean jacket they bought. And they're like, can you
Right.
please sign this? And I'm like, how do you know I exist? So some really cool stuff like that. Another one in the Netherlands, just people who travel to come see your shows. That's
Hmm.
bonkers to me. As far as weird stuff, no, the drunker people get, especially if they're strangers, the weirder they get.
Right.
But no, you kind of just you're kind of just there to do a job, and if the vibe's good, then it's like, hey, I'm done working, time to go to the party.
Right.
Otherwise, you just go, time to go to bed.
So,
Yeah.
uh, for you said you tour with your band, right? Like, how many people does that consist of?
I like for there to be 5 of us total. So it's myself, a trumpet player, guitarist, bassist, and a drummer.
Right.
Occasionally, my manager will come hang out with us too, but it's already a lot of people, for an independent band like us to have 5 people floating around, and um, we're exploring. Maybe we go with 4 for a little bit to see if that can be a little more sustainable. But generally, there's 5 of us, and it's like playing a team sport where you kind of have everybody. Somebody's having an off day, the other guys will kind of bring you up,
Right.
and you can kind of support one another. Um, it's a lot comfier, and to have people around you who are really talented is really cool. You learn a lot from them, and you get to share and remember all those cool, travel stories or studio times or whatever. Otherwise, it's kind of lonely.
Right. Now, that makes sense. And actually, I got when I was looking for people to interview and I came across you, right? I listened to the songs and all that, but I didn't know you had some merch out, so I'm gonna have to check that out and maybe see if I can get some merch, and then maybe
Yeah,
hopefully
sure.
in
I
the
could
future
probably.
get even come see a show or two since you're located pretty close. So
Yeah, I'm very close. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm probably 15 minutes north of you right now. I'm in South Edmonton, so
Oh yeah.
come run you some merch. We can save ourselves some shipping costs.
Might have to buy you dinner instead and just say thank you for
Yeah,
the free
sure.
merch.
Yeah, whatever you like. We'll figure it out.
um, so so with your career, are you happy the way you've done things so far, or is with your music career?
Yeah, I think so. You kind of created. I kind of feel some days like I got to create something out of nothing.
Right.
I didn't really intend to stamp my name on it. That was kind of just a long series of weird circumstances, and at a point, I just kind of plant my flag in something and move forward. But yeah, you know, again, aside from it, um, being able to pay for my whole life and being comfier and having more time, I'm really happy. I feel like it's always growing. I have the chance to kind of like express myself and hang out with people I like, go see new places in the world. Like people work their whole lives to go travel, and I get to kind of do it as a job. So I think
Right.
it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. Could always
Okay.
be better, but could be worse.
Gotcha. And then one last serious question, then we can just have some
Sure.
fun. Um, in your life so far, is there anything you'd like to change about your life or anything like that, or are you happy with your life in general?
Um, I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like I get to have my fingers in a lot of different areas, and that's what keeps me happy. I guess I wish I spent more time, learning things as a kid when you really
Right.
absorb them, or when you had more time and you didn't realize it. I wish I learned more instruments or learned another language or whatever. But no, I'm pretty happy. You got to, what can you say, right? You can't
Mhm.
change it. So
Right.
it's all pretty good. I'm
Okay.
at the accounting office today. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I'm in my grandma's basement right now, so whatever.
So
It's
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, we're all just doing what we do. So it's good.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's turn this into a little bit more fun and let's get to know you like more personally. So like I want to kind of call this like the question and answer phase, like
Okay.
so for example, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Okay, any particular reason for that?
No, just liked it since I was a kid. Just stuck
Okay.
around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What kind, would you say you're more of a fashion guy or more of a just whatever's clean guy?
Definitely a whatever's clean guy.
Okay.
Hopefully the two will coincide, but it's
Right.
generally whatever's clean.
Okay. And do you have a favorite animal?
Oh, that's a good one. I like cats. I'll go with cat.
Okay.
Cop out answer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And like, if you say for example you're at home, like, do you have a favorite TV show or movies or like anything like that you like to do when you're at home?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a serial procrastinator. Um, I'll definitely play video games when I have time for it, which is more often than you'd think. Um, I'm sure I've seen The Office 1,000 times. I'm sure I've seen all of The Simpsons 10
Right.
times. Like, just kind of whatever's on. I just like something good to binge. Really like Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's a great one. I've been watching all the way through. No, nothing I go to always.
Okay. And you said you play
Yeah.
video games. What kind of video games do you play?
Oh, this is the embarrassing part of the chat where I
Oh
go
boy.
from I want to be a cool artist to I like Call of Duty. But yeah, no, I have a good group of friends I grew up with, and it's a good way for us to stay in touch. So we'll play Fortnite or Call of Duty or um, golf games or anything. It's just fun for me to play with
Mhm.
this group of people who you get older and you have maybe less in common with, but you can always kind of come back to what brought you together as teenagers. So AAA games.
That makes sense. That's a good area. What kind of vehicle do you drive? Or do you drive a vehicle?
I I do. I kind of need one, right? Where we live.
Yeah.
I drive a F-150. I drive a pickup truck, which isn't really by choice, but I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
It was my grandpa's truck, and he passed away not too long ago, and so he kind of loaned it to me when he couldn't really drive anymore, and it's just kind of stuck around. So I'm very grateful to have it. Would I have chosen a truck on my own? Probably not. But hey, it's handy actually if we need to go on tour to Vancouver in
Yeah.
February. It's pretty helpful.
No, that makes sense. Do you know what year it is?
2013.
Okay, yeah. That should be a decent truck. I'm driving an old 1997 Ford F-150.
Nice. That's what I was kind of driving before. I think it was 2000 or something.
Yeah, I like it because I want a newer vehicle, right? But it's like it's the nostalgia of being my first vehicle ever. That's just completely mine, right?
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah.
So like, and the nostalgia part really gets me when I think about getting a new one. But like, I know I'm gonna have to get a new
Yeah,
one eventually. But
that's how I feel about this truck even now too. It's not that old, but just family and everything. So
oh yeah, that makes sense. Family's a big key
yeah,
in my life, and sounds like yours as
yeah,
well.
yeah. That's why I'm still in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I oh yeah. Do you have any siblings or anything like that?
Yeah, I have an older sister and a younger brother, and yeah, my younger brother, he's a YouTuber as well, actually. So he's kind of in the arts world and everything too. He's an animator and kind of has done that his whole life. So it's really interesting, actually. If you haven't heard of him, you should check him out. He's called Ginger Pale. Very
Okay.
interesting guy. Yeah.
So that's cool. I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber. I'm just basically a guy that's just using YouTube for fun. I don't really know how anything of it works, so
Me neither. I'm terrible at it, and I need to be better at it. But
everyone tells me, Dylan, you should like actually know what you're doing. I'm like, but I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't
yeah,
want
you got to
to
figure
because
it out as you go.
I'll just hopefully everything just works together with even this, so.
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to ask me?
Um, yeah, how'd you find out about me and this project?
Okay, so it's kind of weird. So basically, because my dream job is to be a journalist, right? And I love sports, so I was thinking sports, but it's so hard. There's so many athletes, like, and there's nowhere to find them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, so I was just Googling, well, what if I did like music? Because I know music's kind of untapped in the like interview world and all that. Like, unless you're going for big names, I was like, what about the little guys? Because for some reason, I have a niche for liking under the radar music because it's like it's different, it's unique, it's special, and it's more personal, right? So I was like,
I
well,
think that's great. I think it's great.
yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool. It's yeah, there's some really great outlets out there too. Exclaim is obviously the biggest one in Canada, and there was View Weekly in Edmonton. There's Cups and Cakes pods. There's lots and lots. There's great communities for these people. So, and can't overstate how helpful it is to artists my size and things like that
yeah.
to have people who care and want to hear about what we're doing, because we think it's important to keep doing. I think what you're trying to do here is really important. So thanks.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. But it's so weird because I'm just like, well, every time I look and every time because I've been to like Taste of Edmonton, Fringe Festival, like just the local Edmonton things, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many artists that I've listened to and liked. I'm like, man, these people are good. And I'm like, well, how come they've only have like a couple thousand listening like per month? I'm like, that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Then like I actually for school I did a project with this one guy named Kyle McCurney. I saw him and all that, and he's like so under the radar, and his music was actually really good, and he's been a part of multiple different bands and all that, and I was like, well, okay. And then I talked to him, and I found out that literally that the mainstream social media aspect of it is doesn't matter how good you are unless you're backed like by a big industry, then you get swept under the rug.
Yeah, that can happen for sure. And then the other thing is how much work it is to do it for yourself. You can do it yourself, and there's so many cool bands coming up who are really talented and then have that extra special recipe of being able to reach out to that audience themselves. So it kind of takes more than just knowing how to play music, and it becomes a job, a very low-paying job that you got to put lots of time and energy into, but it's really rewarding. So people do it.
Yeah, and I'm so lucky too because I was googling and and for some reason I got on Alberta Music, and
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of outdated because it was from back in 2019 and it kind of ended in 2021. But like I just saw all these artists and musicians, like a whole and bands and all that, like thousands, right? So me
Mm-hmm.
being me and me like wanting to like kind of get the word out and all that. So what I did was it took me about 3 days, but I went through every single profile there was in Alberta for the Alberta music, and
Whoa.
and I emailed every single one.
Wow. That's a lot. Well,
It took a lot of time. But I'm like, if I'm gonna try to do something here, I'm not gonna take the easy way. I'm gonna go for it, and I'm just gonna do as much as I can, right?
well, good luck. That sounds
Um,
like quite the project.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I've got a few people, and like some people I've actually listened to from before, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they actually respond to my email, like And I've also had
Yeah,
some
it's
people, yeah.
people want to talk, so it's good.
And then you got a couple odd people that say, "Well, come back once you've done more with the channel," which I understand. You know, I'm more grateful for the ones that like you, for example, even though I have like basically nothing, but you're like, "Oh yeah, all right, we can talk." And I'm like, "Wow, all right, thank you so much," because that means a
I
lot to
just
me.
figure I just figure if you wanted to take the time and check out what we're up to, like, hell yeah, let's talk about it. So why not?
And lastly, is if you want to shout out anyone or music or anything like that, just like I'll if you want to send me some links and I'll put them in the description and all that, so like people know to check out where to check out and find your stuff and all that. I'll do that. But if there's anything you want to say publicly, go ahead.
No, I'm happy.
Okay.
I'll send you some links, but
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for the time.
No, no worries. I appreciate you interviewing me and me interviewing you and us just talking and you know about everything.
Yeah,
So it means a lot
yeah,
to
it's
me
been
that,
fun.
and you sound like an amazing person. So it's great to see that
Thanks, that's
you're
really
going
nice.
on with, and you're a very upbeat and happy guy. So that's good to hear.
That's good. Just trying to keep everything balanced, and keep moving forward. So, yeah. Well, I probably gotta get back to work. So,
Yeah,
thanks.
I should probably get out of my grandma's basement.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well,
Fair
thank
enough.
you so much for giving me the time of interviewing you, and hopefully I'll see you in an upcoming venue you're doing or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Okay, well, thanks so much, Dylan. See you
Okay,
later.
bye.
Bye.